the second day of the battle, July 2nd, 1863, General Robert E. Lee devised a plan for his Confederates to attack both flanks of the Union line on Cemetery Ridge. His plan was to have his First Corps attack the northern end of the Federal line. He ordered Longstreet to attack south up the Emmitsburg Road towards Little and Big Round Tops, which appeared to be empty of Union troops. An attack here would strike the Union in its left flank. For General Meade, this would be a surprise. There was a great number of desperate attacks, an attempt to gain control of spots such as Little Round Top, Cemetery Hill, Devil's Den, the wheat fields, and the peach orchard. There were heavy losses on both sides. The total number of Confederates killed on July 2nd was 6,500, and for the Union troops, approximately 8,750.
I have to say, this is by far the worst battle of the entire war so far. I've lost so many of my friends, and so many people I've looked up to. It's about 95 degrees outside, making it so hard to act fast due to heat exhaustion. I've been shot in my left arm and right leg, making it very hard to move. Heavy cannon fires and big clouds of blinding smoke hang over the battlefield, affecting my vision and hearing. I just want this war to end.
Look, it's the Confederates!
On the Thursday of the battle, July 3rd, 1863, the Union struck early in the morning, forcing the Confederates to retreat. During this time, Robert E. Lee was determined to make an attack on the Union. The attack would go down in history as Pickett's charge. It managed to pierce the Union lines, but eventually failed at the cost of thousands of rebel casualties, and Lee was forced to withdraw his army to Virginia on July 4th.
Look, there they are.
Is that the Union? Yes! Fall back! Welcome to Civil War prisons. Come inside.
This right here is a Civil War jail. As you can see, many prisoners suffered and were put through torture. One of the biggest jails was Camp Sumter, a Confederate military prison, which held 45,000 Union men and 13,000 died from the poor conditions. Prisoners even lost nearly 50-plus pounds due to starvation. Moreover, a large number of prisoners became depressed, while others looking for a quick death taunted guards to shoot them. Prisoners suffered from malnutrition and starvation, as well as diseases like typhoid, dysentery, smallpox, malaria, and cholera. When prisoners couldn't take life in the camp anymore, they made their escape. One of the earliest ways prisoners escaped was by pretending to be sick or dead, hoping guards would carry them outside, where they would get up and walk away. Others disguised themselves as slave labor and walked out with visiting slaves. After the Battle of Gettysburg, the amount of prisoners during the time period nearly doubled. Out of 3.8 million soldiers in the Civil War, over 400,000 were at some point taken prisoner. That number represents more than total number of troops who died and is roughly many number wounded.
Wake up, it's breakfast. Here in Civil War prisons, you serve bread made of inferior flour and rusty bacon. Sometimes rats are found in our food, but I knew you guys were coming, so I kept it out for today. We also serve coffee. Normally not this basic, but this is what's on the menu for today. If the prisoners don't finish their bread at breakfast, they get to keep the rest for the day. But if they finish it, they get no more bread for the rest of the day. Follow me.
We have a secret plan to summon Abe Lincoln. Come on, let's go!
Abraham Lincoln. I heard I was summoned.
Back to CCIS News. We have some breaking news here for you today. 2 local citizens have summoned Abe Lincoln from his grave, and we are determined to find him. Oh my God, there he is! Hello, everybody, and welcome to our new segment, Adventures with Abe. So, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm living today.
Tell us about your early life.
So I was born on February 12th, 1809, in a one-room log cabin in Hardin County, Kentucky. I moved from Illinois and southern Indiana with my family, and yeah.
Tell us about your political life.
So I became involved in the Whig Party, winning the Illinois State Legislature in 1834, and eventually, after that, I went on to marry Todd in 1842 in Springfield. And together we had 4 sons, but 3 of them died before marriage.
So tragic.
And later I served in the House of Representatives in 1861, and I served as the 16th president, went until 1865, where I was assassinated in April of 1865. And I'm most famous for my presidency and my Gettysburg Address. When I received the invitation to make the remarks at Gettysburg, I thought of it as an opportunity to make a statement on the significance of war. I wrote about half of it before leaving the White House on November 18th and completed writing it that night. Despite the common myth, I wrote it on the train. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave us the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth.